Welcome to this session on qualitative research. The takeaway points from this session are to define the 5 types of qualitative research designs, define the 4 types of qualitative sampling, define the 4 types of qualitative data collection, and define the 4 ways of establishing credibility in qualitative research. A research design guides the framework and activities through which a research topic is studied. The 5 types of qualitative research designs covered in this course are: first, a biography research design, which is focused on telling the life story of an individual through important events or time periods that help to illustrate the research topic. Second, a phenomenology is focused on describing the common characteristics of an experience that is shared among a group of people and describing the meaning that people give to that experience. A grounded theory is focused on developing a theory that is arrived at inductively from the qualitative data, which means that a researcher starts with a general question, collects qualitative data, and then develops a theory that helps to explain whatever the topic of the research is. The theory is developed by identifying common themes in the data and the relationships between those themes. Fourth, an ethnography is focused on understanding how a cultural or social group or system works by describing and interpreting the group's shared behaviors, customs, and ways of life. Last, a case study is focused on illustrating a research topic by describing the experiences within one case over a period of time. A case can be a person, a family, a program, an event, an activity, or any other type of system. The emphasis of this design is on an in-depth understanding of the case or a comparison of several cases. In practice, researchers will sometimes combine or integrate aspects of these different qualitative research designs. Qualitative sampling is usually non-random, which means that the findings cannot be generalized to other people not involved in the study. Convenience or availability sampling involves inviting participation from people who are readily available to the researcher. This type of sampling is useful when the researcher has access to a setting with participants who fit the criteria for the study. Purposive sampling includes participants who are selected specifically because they have some characteristic the researcher is interested in studying. This type of sampling is useful when the researcher has criteria for people in the study and a way to access potential participants. Snowball sampling includes identifying people who meet the criteria for inclusion in a study and then asking them to recommend others they know who also meet the criteria, so that the sample grows like a rolling snowball. This type of sampling is useful when the researcher has specific criteria for people in the study and participants are difficult to find. Qualitative data collection involves a process of collecting verbal or visual data from the sample of participants in the study. Qualitative interviewing is a common form of data collection because it allows people to elaborate on a topic. This elaboration creates the type of in-depth and detailed data that are needed for qualitative research. In addition, qualitative interviewing is useful when the research topic is sensitive and there is a need to maintain a participant's privacy and confidentiality. Interviewing is also useful when the topic is complicated and there's a need to ask a series of questions on a topic in order to understand it. Focus groups are group interviews that usually include between 7 and 12 people. This type of qualitative data collection allows for interactions between people, which can create a greater detail and different kinds of details in the data. Focus groups also are useful because data can be collected from many people at once. Observation is a common form of data collection in ethnographic research because understanding a cultural or social group's shared norms and customs often requires actually seeing the group and experiencing their interactions and ways of life. Last, document review in qualitative data collection can include reviewing case records or other written archival documents such as letters, reports, meeting minutes, or other forms of written documents. This form of qualitative data collection might be used if access to individuals is restricted or the research question is focused on a time period that has passed. Now let's take a look at some examples of the 5 research designs. Let's say a researcher is interested in studying a research topic focused on exploring the successes and challenges in the lives of people with a physical disability. A biography could explore this topic by interviewing a person with a disability and asking them to talk about events, activities, time periods, people, or other aspects of their life that help to illustrate the concepts that represent successes and challenges in their lives. The sampling would be purposive because the researcher would be selecting a specific individual. Several interviews with the individual and people they know would take place, as well as a review of documents such as letters, reports, or photographs. Using a phenomenology, this topic would be studied by interviewing several people with a physical disability and asking them to describe experiences in their lives when they have felt successful and times when they have felt challenged, and also to describe what these experiences have meant to them in their lives. The sampling could be convenience, purposive, or snowball, depending on the context of the research study and the researcher's ability to access or find participants who meet the study criteria. Data collection in phenomenology is generally interviews because there is a need to explore a topic in depth. However, it is also possible to include focus groups depending on the sensitivity of the research topic. A grounded theory research design might explore this topic by interviewing numerous people with a physical disability and asking them to describe successes and challenges in their lives, and also to explain the reasons and processes through which these successes and challenges occurred. These data would be used to develop a theory about why and how people with physical disabilities may experience successes and challenges. The sampling could be convenience, purposive, or snowball, or a combination of these methods depending on the research context. Data collection would likely be interviews because there's a need to explore the topic in depth. Observations may also be used as a way to gather more information to build a theory on the research topic. Using an ethnography, a researcher could become an observer in a support group for people with physical disabilities. Observational and informal conversational data could be used to learn about how people with a physical disability form and maintain social norms in their group and create shared meanings with respect to the research topic of successes and challenges in their lives. The sampling could be purposive because the researcher would need to identify a specific support group to attend. Data collection would include observation of the support group and interactions and norms of behavior between the people in the group. Interview data may also be collected during the observation process. A case study research design could be used to interview people with a physical disability and ask them to describe successes and challenges in their lives. The researcher would then use individual narratives to describe each person's successes and challenges. Sampling would be convenience, purposive, or snowball, depending on the research context, and data collection would typically be interviews so that participants could provide their narratives. Qualitative researchers are not seeking objectivity in their research. Their subjectivity is part of the research process. However, that subjectivity can lead to errors. In order to create checks and balances in the research process, researchers can use methods to establish the credibility of their data. First, clarifying researcher bias at the outset of the study is one method of establishing credibility in qualitative research. Researchers can use self-reflexivity to reflect on their own feelings and perspectives about the research topic, as well as their own positionality in relation to the research participants. Second, researchers can use a peer review or debriefing process in which they consult with peers and colleagues about the methods and the findings in a study. The purpose of this activity is to gather multiple perspectives on the study and its methods and to incorporate expert feedback in order to improve study methods. A third strategy is to use member checking, which involves sharing preliminary results from a qualitative study with the people who participated in the study or community stakeholders who are knowledgeable about the topic. The purpose of this activity is to confirm and enrich the researchers' interpretations of the results. A fourth strategy is the use of triangulation, which means using multiple sources of qualitative data to inform results and interpretations. For instance, combining interviews and observations, or interviews and focus groups, or also triangulation can mean integrating quantitative and qualitative data into one study in order to improve our understanding of a topic. In summary, the takeaway points from this session are to define the 5 qualitative research designs, define the 4 types of qualitative sampling, define the 4 types of qualitative data collection, and define the 4 ways of establishing credibility in qualitative research. And describing the meaning that people give to that experience. A grounded theory is focused on developing a theory that is arrived at inductively from the qualitative data, which means that a researcher starts with a general. Welcome to this session on qualitative research. The takeaway points from this session are to define the 5 types of qualitative research designs, define the 4 types of qualitative sampling, define the 4 types of qualitative data collection, and define the 4 ways of establishing credibility in qualitative research. Story of an individual through important events or time periods that help to illustrate the research topic. Second, a phenomenology is focused on describing the common characteristics of an experience that is shared among a group of people. A research design guides the framework and activities through which a research topic is studied. The 5 types of qualitative research designs covered in this course are: first, a biography research design, which is focused on telling the life story